What's going on, everybody? Today, we're taking a look at the MeloAudio MIDI Commander in conjunction with the ART Multiverb. Kind of a neat video here and a neat concept today, because when you consider the fact that these two devices have about 32 years between them, but they're being run via MIDI, so not a big deal at all. I already did a video where I demoed through quite a bit of the sounds and whatnot that we're going to be working in here, but this is mainly about how the MIDI Commander works with it. Now, as we may or may not be able to see in the viewfinder over here, I have this first set up with no effects, B1 space A. Now the naming convention that I'm using on this is B1 stands for bank 1. Okay? As we see on the Melo MIDI Commander, we have a bank up and a bank down button. Now this is a very old unit, so basically, as the way I understand it, if I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody out there in the World Wide Web will have no problems correcting me at all. The A, B, C, and D buttons are for, with more of the newer units and the amp modelers and whatnot, for snapshots. You got your bank up, your bank down, and your bank up, and these are for different snapshots. So let's say, for example, you got a patch going where you have 6 or 7 effects, but on the A, you want that snapshot to turn off the chorus. On B, you want that snapshot to turn off the, and so on and so forth. Different snapshots within there. The top line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4E, is for individually turning on and off various effects in any given patch. Now, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I can't seem to get those to work with the multiverb unit at all. Now, maybe that's just me, and maybe there is an actual way to do that. However, I have not found that as of yet. So the way I've used it is I've gone into this under the MIDI utility. When you hit Edit, you got to make sure you're over on Edit. Hit the MIDI utility until that actually pops up some menus there. And you keep cycling through that on the select buttons. Got that MIDI channel as 1. So for example, on bank 1 over here, A would be 1, B would be 2, C would be 3, D would be 4, and then when I bank up, and so on and so forth. So I have MIDI 1 programmed to preset 101, and so on and so forth. So if I can show you how I got this done, for example, as we can see here, we're on bank 1, B1, A. I have A selected, so A is just a bypass. But when I click on B, you'll see on the unit over there, on the actual multiverb, it'll go to B, which gives me an EQ, and it switches over to preset 102. So basically, on bank 1, that's going to cycle me through presets 1, 2, 3, and 4. If we take a look at the display as I hit them, preset 2, which is an EQ, preset C, which is a low octave, and which is also memory location 103, and hit the D, goes to 104, which is a high pitch transpose. The signal chain with this is pretty much the same as always. I'm going into the left input of the multiverb, I'm coming out of the left output, and from there going into a passive DI box, and from there it's just going directly into the DAW, no post-production at all. You're hearing just the raw, unprocessed track with just the bass and the multiverb in it. That's it. So for example, here in this position, it's just bypass. Or at least no effects at all. When I go over and I hit B, that's what gives me that nice EQ sound. go back to A, that would be the bypass. Want a little more bite for that snap and pluck? Hit the B, which will get us over to the EQ. There is an actual remote switch on the back of this unit, which you can use a non-latching foot switch to automatically bypass, but I've already got the Melo MIDI Commander. I don't want to add too many more foot switches and cables and whatnot. Now, if I go over to C, that's what I really want this thing for, that nice fat low octave. And if I go over to D, that's a nice high octave. As we can see, it changes over there on the patch and everything. All right, and as always, A, on every one of the banks that I'm using it for, this is how I'm setting it up, it's just a bypass, no effects. As soon as I hit this bank up, it goes to bank 2 over there, and we also see that nothing has changed actually on the display itself. That's because it's programmed to bank, but I haven't activated anything yet. If I click on A, now we see it put me over to bank 2A, which is the bypass. On every bank, I have A as the bypass. And for this bank, I've only got 2 effects currently. Now, when I click on B, that gives me a nice chorus effect. Like I said, at any time, at any bank, I hit A, and that's just my bypass. That's just, I'm calling it bypass, but it's not actually a bypass. That's just no effects. Now, if I want to go over to the next bank, an upper bank or a lower bank, let's say I want to go back down to a bank. I've gone down to bank A. It still has me on bank 2 over here, and it will stay so until I hit one of the A, B, C, or D buttons to then assign it over to that bank. So if I hit C, bank 1, low octave, one of my favorites. Bypassed. Octave. Just a little bit of EQ. Back over to bypass. So again, when you want to change banks, not only do you bank up, but then you have to actually hit one of the buttons in that bank. As we can see, I just went up to bank 2 on the actual MIDI Commander, but we see over here, it's still on bank 1. So I'd have to hit the bypass or any one of these ABC, and as soon as we do that, we can see it switches over. So yeah, then just bank up, bank down. It's got more options than I would possibly need out of this, and can't wait to get this thing into my bass rig, if even just for the EQ, the chorus, and the pitch shift alone. That's worth the price of admission for me. Thanks for checking out this video. Do what makes you happy.